Hey, Billy Ephardt here. And listen, I have an exciting subject that I want to talk to you about. I just finished really a new program that we've developed called Organizational Mastery. And today in this vlog, I really want to talk for a few minutes about one of the chapters. We actually have a manual that has 10 chapters in it, along with a full video program, audio program, and syllabus on organizational mastery. We'll tell you sometime later how you can get that. But today I want to talk about what I share in chapter 1 of organizational mastery, and that is what we call the leader manager. I want to talk about how really organizational mastery and you being a leader manager applies to you, whether you're leading a corporation, whether you're an entrepreneur and have your own business you've started, maybe it's up and running, you've got 100 employees, or maybe you're just getting started. Maybe it's just you and nobody else. So what role do you take and what role does your organization take? We're going to talk about that today in this particular vlog that we want to call the leader manager. And so today as we talk about that, I want to remind you that Michael Gerber wrote a book. It's a great book called the EMyth Revisited. In fact, at the Charis Business School, we use that as one of the textbooks actually we use for the students to read. And in the EMyth Revisited, Gerber classifies someone that's leading a business in 3 areas. He said, first of all, they take the role, number one, of an entrepreneur. And then he said they should be able to take the role of what he called the manager. And then he said some will take the role of a doer. And the premise of his book is that some people will gravitate to the role of the entrepreneur more than others. Some will gravitate to the role of being a manager, and some will gravitate to the role of actually being just a doer. Well, in this chapter where I talk about leader manager, we talk about the leader, the manager, and then we talk about the doer. And the reason that I shared it like in that context, because what we're going to share with you can be applied to a business or an organization, even a nonprofit organization. And that is, you must understand that to really be successful, you must, and in my opinion, what I'm sharing with you, you must fulfill the role of a leader and you must fulfill the role of a manager. And so you have to kind of wear 2 hats. If I was going to, take one hat off and put the other one on, sometimes you have to put on a leader hat and sometimes you have to put on a manager hat. And somebody says, well, what's the difference? Well, first of all, before I tell you the difference, let me say this. The third role that some people take is just that of being a doer. They like to do the work, that is in the organization. Let's take, for example, a carpenter. Carpenter likes to work with his hands. He likes to do the work himself, or maybe an artist or someone like that. But actually, they're not going to build an organization or a business that will scale if they're doing the work. They're too busy doing the work. In other words, they're working in their business instead of on their business. So getting back to leader manager, what happens is that what we want to encourage you to become to build an organization or to build your business is that you wear both the hat of a leader and the hat of a manager. Now, the hat of a leader, what's the hat of a leader? The hat of a leader is really a leader focuses on dealing with people. So in other words, how you relate to people, how you lead people, how you converse to people, and a key one is how you actually listen to people by listening to them talk and hearing what's in their head, hearing what's in their heart. But a leader really relates to people, okay? So you've got to be able to do that. The manager actually relates to the work or the functions that need to happen in the organization. And I like to say it this way: leaders relate to people, managers relate to the work. And in the context of the work and what the book Organizational Mastery is about is how do you build systems over here as a manager so that the routine work in an organization, just remember this, every organization, no matter how big and small, about 70% of everything that's done in that organization, if systems are properly built, and we'll talk about systems later in another vlog, but if systems are properly built, then about 70% of all the work is identified and it is standardized, and then it is done what I call and directed. So you identify the work, you standardize the work, and then you direct the work. When that happens, that's really where a manager fits, because the manager is identifying and standardizing the work and then directing it or managing as it goes. But the leader's job, once the work has been identified, the leader's job is then to match up the right people to the work that needs to be done. And I want to say this to you now in this particular vlog, that one of the greatest reasons why businesses and organizations fail is because the manager hat has not been put on, and people do not understand, or those that are heading the organization do not understand that they must first identify and standardize the work in order for it to be able to be directed. That's the hat of a manager. The hat of a leader is then finding the people and leading them in a way that they feel like they're empowered, as well as they're excited about being there in whatever work they're doing. And so the leader is the one that works with people. The manager is the one that works with work. So the last thing I'll leave you with here is that if you understand these two roles and how to balance them out, Jim Collins wrote a great book called Good to Great. And he said this, he said, you must learn, first of all, the leader, he said, you must first of all learn to get the right people on the bus. That's the leader. Being able to select the right people. That's the people connection. But then he said you have to get people in the right seat on the bus. That's the work that needs to be done in order for both of them to come together and be successful in your organization and your business. So this is Billy Epperhart saying thanks for watching this vlog, and we'll see you again right here on another video. Bye-bye. Listen, I want you to know, some people say, how can I follow you? How can I get a hold of you? You can follow us on Facebook at Billy Epperhart. You can follow us on Instagram, also on Twitter. So we're all over the social media universe. Also, you can go to our website, BillyEpperhart.com, and there's all kind of blogs, vlogs on there. In addition to that, people have asked, well, how can I get more involved? And one of the things you do when you go to the website, you can click right on the Give Partner button if you want to help us in our endeavors in both of our nonprofits. We have two. One is called Tricord Global. You can tricordglobal.com, and our Wealth Builders, where we give the financial and educational information. So you can really help us, and we would appreciate you doing that. So thanks for watching. We'll see you later.